now I would welcome any questions concerning anything that I spoke about, or if you didn't hear something, you're free to ask those questions.
Shanice, thank you so much for your time that you shared with us and the information that you share. Guys, please feel free to text your questions pertaining to Shanice's presentation. She's here for you guys to be able to ask questions. As you guys know, when you go to someone to get service like that, they charge you a service fee to even ask them questions pertaining to the SATs. You know how the world is these days. You have Shanice here with you. Any question you want to ask, you just need to type up the questions. Shanice, I know you're seeing some of the questions are coming up there. You can just take the questions as they come.
Okay, so I have a first question. This person is asking, as a U.S. national living in the Caribbean, what allowances do I have? Is it, I want you to be a little specific. Are you relating to the exam? Because that question is a bit broad. So just give me some context as to what you really want to ask. So I'll come back to your question. Do colleges accept ACT tests? So this is Zion. Yes, colleges accept ACT tests, but you always have to research the requirements, the university requirements. We don't write ACT much in the Caribbean. There might be 1 or 2 centers that you can write it, but we more so focus on the SAT. So that's why you would not hear me talking about ACTs at all. Right. So to the other person, as a U.S. national, yes, just give me that question again, a little bit more fine-tuned.
Yes, guys, so keep the questions coming. I think there's another one up there.
Yes, so the student is asking relating to getting into schools and your scores. Okay, so as a U.S. national, your score, it again, it's going to come down to in terms of your score, it's always going to come down to what is the school admission requirements. So if that school has an admission requirement of, they might say, okay, students, we generally accept students who scored 1100 and above, then you have to ensure that your score is within that range. It would not make a difference if you're, no matter what nationality you are. In terms of getting into school, whether you are a U.S. national or an international student, you would have that eligibility. The difference for U.S. nationals, what would happen is your tuition fee would be a bit different, because domestic students, aka U.S. students, they would pay much less. But if you are a U.S. national living in the Caribbean and you have not lived in the U.S. for a long time, you would not get all the benefits immediately upon your return. You would have to go through the system for a year to become naturalized before you can get all the access to your U.S. grants. So there's federal aid and there's state aid. So as a U.S. national, you would only get federal aid when you start university, and that is just federal aid is just assistance with your tuition. So after your first year, after being in the system for your first year, then you would be able to get more financial assistance, which would be your state aid. But how you line up in admissions against other students, your grades and your performance have to be on par with the other students. It will not give you an up. It's just that you might get a little more perks in terms of funding. So if you don't get a scholarship, you will be eligible for some funding still, because you're a U.S. national. So again, always comes down to looking at the schools. You don't want to apply to a school and your grades or your background is not matching up with their admissions process. So I hope that answered your question. And then there is another someone else is asking, do you help with Canadian schools too? No, my focus is the SAT and US universities. What I can tell you is that there are not many scholarships for international students at the Canadian school level. You'll find some, but a lot of times they are not full scholarships and they are partial. So you get much more scholarship and funding opportunities at US universities. So that is where my focus is. I've not gone to the Canadian route, so I would not try to sell somebody that I know all about it, but I know for a fact that your funding opportunities are much less for at Caribbean school. You will faster get full funding at a US university versus a Canadian school. I've seen parts of the process, and I know for a fact that you will not get as many opportunities as the US schools. Someone is asking about calculating the GPA. They have their score. They have a system for calculating the GPA, and that is something that I can't tell you off the top of my head, but it's usually simply researchable. There are some engines, if you search online, there are some engines that you can utilize to convert your Caribbean CSEC subjects to the US GPA system. It's just a matter of some different scorings that they use. They might give a grade 1 4 points or something like that, but I can't tell you off the top of my head, but it's something that can be easily found if you do some quick research.
Shanice, I'd also like to add to pertaining to the SATs. The SATs, when coming to being a student athlete, right, with the SATs, that is very, very critical in the sense of the amount of money the school can give you to the tune of a scholarship. That is how critical that SAT is. The higher your score, the more finances the school is going to give you. So this is why you need to get into the SATs. Now, I must mention to you though, because of the COVID, a lot of schools have waived the SATs, right? Some of the schools have waived the SATs, but they still look at the SATs to determine how much scholarship they can offer you. So even if it's waived, still I would suggest though, you do it because you want to get as much money as possible from the school. And that is critical, guys, because I know a lot of you guys are here from the Caribbean region. And if you were to calculate the exchange rate to the US dollars, you understand what we are talking about here. In Trinidad, I'm not too sure, I think it's about seven
yes,
something.
Almost $7.
Almost
recently, but almost
$7 to one. In different Caribbean islands, in different parts, it could be more, it could be less. And then one of the issues you may run into is you may have that money in your currency. The problem is to convert it. And that is something I have been dealing with for the longest while, where even with parents, with kids who may have gotten through with schools, with other individuals help them, they still will come and say, Coach Roy, how do I get this done? And one of the first things I would ask the parents is that, did you have an appointment with the bank or the credit union or some sort of discussion? And guys, this is things that you need to plan. This is not something that, I get a scholarship and you just go on it and it just happens. You have to plan this properly. You have to gather the information. Even the schools that offer you a scholarship, you need to be able to do your research on the school. Where's the school at? What division they're playing in? Who is the guys on the team? You get a scholarship and sometimes you find yourself sitting on the bench. Let's be real about it. You find yourself sitting on the bench, not playing, and you wonder what is really transpiring here. Shanice, do me a favor if you can cut off the sharing for me. Is it possible on your screen if you could just remove the sharing? I know I can't do it, but I would prefer you do it on your end, or I can remove it.
I removed my sharing already.
You remove your sharing, okay,
yeah.
Beautiful. Let me just remove it from my screen then. Maybe it's my screen I need to remove it for. Yes, guys. So I think it's very important, guys, in terms of doing your SATs and getting the relevant qualifications and getting the relevant score, which is going to help you a lot. A lot of schools have that finances that they can help you. And then some kids, like for instance, didn't get too good scores on the SATs. And may I say to you, when they come up here, the school's still interested in you. They still have an examination to do before they get in school when they get up here. I can tell you that for sure, because I had about 4 kids, Shanice, who came up recently, and they had us to sit a test to be placed in particular studies that they want. So they did the SATs and still had us to come up now and go and do another test. So why not just, you know, go through the process of studying the SATs, put in that 3 months. Shanice is offering everything, the whole kitchen sink, as we say. You're getting everything to help you there. You know, get the information, go online and one thing I need to mention too, it's not a place, it's not where you need to you know, go to a classroom. You may have to go to a classroom to do the examination, but you can do this from the comfort of your home, your office. Even, you know, if you're traveling and you're working, you could go up on your phone, you have internet, and you can pull the information and continue studying. This is where the world is heading right now, guys. So it's critical that you do this SATs and you try to get those top scores, those 1400s. It's a multiple choice, as you know, and you can get it, but it's not something you can just walk into and say, well, look, I'm just going to pay and go and do it. You know, you need to do the classes and get the information and be guided the right way so you could get the proper information, so you could function in that information, so you can get that kind of score that you need. As I said, guys, feel free to ask any question you have pertaining to SATs, so Shanice can answer these questions for us. So it would be able, so you would be able to, you would be able to get the best set of information that you need. Guys, do me a favor, please. If you have your microphones, please don't turn it on. If you have your microphones, neither your cameras, please don't turn your microphones or your cameras on, please. Shanice, are you there still?
Yes, I'm here, Anthony.
Okay, I think your camera was off. Your camera is off.
Someone just took it off. So
someone take it off. Okay, beautiful.
I can't.
Can you turn it on? No?
No, that's on your end of privileges.
Okay, beautiful. Not a problem. I would sort that out for you. Okay, see if you can turn it on now.
All right, yes. So there's another question. How does SAT math compare to CSEC math in terms of difficulty? The SAT math is very well, of course, it's fully multiple choice. It is very much real world application based. So a lot when you would just have to do a lot of calculations and, you know, for CSEC and showing your working. Of course, with the SAT math, you are not required to show any working, but it's all about strategy. You have to think quickly as you go, and you basically have just about sometimes 30 seconds to a minute on particular questions. A lot of the topics are very similar. There are some additional mathematics topics for those in the Caribbean. You will be familiar with ADMAT. On the math section, but a lot of it is really it's a lot of critical thinking. So they're giving you real world scenarios, worded questions, real world scenarios, and you have to be able to identify which mathematical theory are they testing here. How can I convert these words in this paragraph here into a math equation to determine what the solution is? There are even some questions on the SAT where you don't even have to do calculations because it is critical thinking. You actually have to read and infer. You have to give an inference type of answer. So the answer choices, the question might be very much worded, and the answer choices, they are also worded too. So you then have to look at it and try to make sense out of it. So it's a lot of data analysis as well. So it is very different. In some ways, it's similar in terms of the foundation that you need. You need a good algebra foundation, quadratics, functions, polynomials, problem solving and data analysis, statistics. So I'm just giving you some ideas there, and then you have to utilize that knowledge and take it up a notch to the type of math that you would encounter on the SAT. Another, go ahead, Anthony.
Yes, I think this might be a question that I may have to take in terms of
yes.
Someone asking, if student athletes need to, before entering a school, do they ask for clips of the players? Yes, they would ask for clips of the players because let me step back a little to give you a better understanding of it. A scholarship, guys, for school, it's a lot of money, right? For these institutions, to attend these institutions. You know, sometimes it may calculate to 50, 60,000 US a year. Sometimes it may calculate to 30,000. It's all based on the school. Like, for instance, we had a guest, Quinn, who was here the last time. Quinn School is 55,000 US dollars, right? If you want to calculate that now by 7, you would see the kind of money that is, what, over $250,000, Shanice, in TT dollars, close to $500,000 TT dollars a year, because you multiply it by 7.5
yeah, by 7.
So you multiply 7. So what you said is about over $250,000 TT dollars a year. That is the kind of money that a school is putting out for you to attend their school, guys. And I would like to ask you a question, though, because I get a lot of questions on my on the WhatsApp group. Would you put that out for someone to attend a school if you're a coach and you haven't seen a video clip of them or haven't spoken to them before? So I would ask the audience that question. If you are a coach, put yourself in a position as a coach, and you haven't seen Shanice play soccer. Would you offer Shanice a scholarship to your school if you haven't seen her play soccer and she's a student athlete playing soccer? So I would hope that will answer your question, guys. It's difficult for a coach, and you have to understand, this is not a minor league you're going into. You're going to NCAA competition here, and this is the coach's job. This is how he takes care of his family. This is how he lives. He is there to develop kids physically, mentally, psychologically. He is there to win. So his job is on the line, guys. This is how important this is, guys. His job is on the line when coming to coaching a university or college. Yes. Goddard, I know you have a question. You will have to type your question, please. So if you have a question, please type it, and Shanice would be able to go ahead. Shanice, you can go ahead, because I think there's a lot of questions there for you.